Brian Baldinger, because DJ has him going #1 overall in that mock to the Carolina Panthers. We did not see Bryce Young throwing at the combine. We saw the height, we saw the weight thing, over 200, just under 5'11". What do you want to see from Bryce Young in Tuscaloosa?
Well, you know, him throwing the ball in Tuscaloosa is going to be a whole lot different than just go watching him play elite games in the SEC over the last 2 years where he's dominated the competition. So, but I always think you can glean something. I'd actually like to see Bryce Young run. And I'd like to see C.J. Stroud run. I mean, you know, we saw Anthony Richardson run a 4.44. We saw Max Duggan run a 4.5 240. Nobody thought he could do that, but he did. Like, if these guys are truly competitive, go show everybody that you're a 4.5 or faster than that. And then what you can glean, I think, from watching any quarterback throw, and Andrew, and you're down the field Sundays with the Rams, and I'm on the field everywhere. I love watching quarterbacks throw. Like, sometimes it's just the ease that they throw. Sometimes, watching Justin Herbert throw, just the spin, just the command that you have in a setting like that where all eyes in the NFL are on you. Like, show command, leadership, which we've already seen, in the games, the poise that Bryce Young plays with. But I just think in that atmosphere with a little bit of pressure, with all these eyes wanting to see one good throw after another, I just think he decided not to throw at the combine for whatever reason. That's his prerogative. Maybe the tape is good enough. But I think people want to watch him throw. And is being 5'10 and a quarter, is that limiting when you watch him throw? Does it look different when you see him live? I think all these things that these scouts and these eyes that study movement for a business and for a living, you can glean something from that.
If you go back to Indy and you talk about the ease with which somebody throws, C.J. Stroud had that. I mean, everything looked clean. The accuracy, the mechanics, almost like watching Sasaki pitch last night for Japan to the WBC. Everything was seemingly perfect with no extra effort added, Baldy.
So there's an old saying in sports, and it applies really to more than sports, but everything is difficult before it gets easy. And some guys just skip that difficult step. And, even DJ, during C.J. Stroud's throwing was like, man, I haven't seen many sessions better than what C.J. Stroud just demonstrated out there to receivers that he had never thrown to before. And so that shows up on tape. Of course, he's throwing to the elite of the elite at Ohio State. And so you have to kind of factor some of that in and how quickly Marvin Harrison or Njigba and some of these receivers at Ohio State win in their routes. But, just watch him in the national championship game against Georgia. And the same thing we saw at the combine, him throwing, that's what it looked like on the biggest stage in college football on that night in January out in Los Angeles.
Where I thought it was fascinating at the combine, speaking of that night out in Los Angeles here, C.J. Stroud said at the combine that he wishes he ran more. Speaking of the game against Georgia, the semifinal game on New Year's Eve, he wishes he ran more at Ohio State. Fascinating to see if he does run, how he runs in Columbus. But regardless, you could see him and all that workout coming up live on NFL Plus. Thank you, Brian Baldinger. The latest on the quarterbacks here as they get ready to work out this week. Pro Day specials on path to the draft. Speaking of DJ, speaking of that.